to another episode of the Lion's Den podcast. Wednesday night football, Victory Wednesday. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about here on the Lion's Den podcast, episode 53, I believe. It says 52. But I think it is actually episode 53.
There we go.
Doing my best to replicate our beloved Kari's intro. She has some personal commitments and can't join us this evening, but so let's turn things over to Carlos, our guest host in a pinch, to get us going.
QB for tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for that intro, Kari Louie. So how are we feeling today for that win?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a nervy match to watch not really because of how far launched up in the table we are. I mean, we basically had the Super Liderato wrapped up for a month, but still you want to go out and see your team play as they should, being what they are, and I think we got that, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. Jose, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How do you feel about Monday night's win?
I mean, what is it now? Because I kind of forget now. Are we on is it 8 or 9 now? Winning streak.
Consecutive?
Yes.
Consecutive wins? I think it's only 7 or maybe 8.
7?
I thought it was 7. It's
because
12.
I think the last time was 7.
Unbeaten. I think it's maybe it's 8. I think and then maybe 13 unbeaten.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Because last time nobody's talking about that or caring about that. It's just so funny to me how big a deal they made about it when Pumas could win 11 in a row, and that would have been their record, and we or not win, but go unbeaten for 11 in a row, and we've gone unbeaten with 7 of those being wins for 13 in a row, and nobody cares. We just have bigger fish to fry. I mean, that's that's a thing for losers to celebrate. We want the title. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into. I actually wanted to discuss something that just came out, and I know we have mixed feelings about it. So let's just get it out of the way. The convocatoria for the Mexican national team. None of the Leon players were called up, which is fine, which is good.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that Jose?
Or where?
Okay, Jose's lagging, but yeah. So let's just talk about that real quick, Louis, because I know you're really opposed to our players going to the national team. We should be taking care of business at home first. So how do you feel? I kind of have to agree with you on this one today, because it made me feel good to not see any of our players on that list.
Yeah, I mean, what are they really preparing for? Like, I just don't. I mean, these are. Again, I mean, I sound like a broken record. People generally think that it's always country over club. I am not always of that opinion. Sometimes it is, obviously, in a World Cup or even a Confederations Cup or even a Gold Cup. Anything competitive, of course. But these are just friendlies so that the selecciones have something to do, so they don't disappear. I mean, it's not like they're going to disappear, but I mean, there's very little weight to these matches. And I'm thinking back to a year and a half ago, the Clausura 19, which whoever thought we could have a better season than that one. But I mean, we're shaping up to have an even better season, an even better shot at the title. As good as we looked in that season, we have an even better shot at seriously competing for a title now, for a number of reasons that we'll get to in a bit, talking about the Santos game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking back to that, and I'm thinking about how Macias was just like, "Peace, guys. I'm going to this stupid U20 World Cup, and I'm leaving you guys without a striker." And I'm thinking about the legs and the injuries that we had that cost us a title in the end, and why add more risk unnecessarily to that? These guys, having a serious shot at a title is more important than these FIFA break friendlies. I'm sorry, they just are. Sometimes club is needs to be prioritized over country, and this is one of those situations. I mean, it's bad enough that we're going to lose Aquino and
Meneses
and Meneses
Mena.
again, and Mena again.
Yeah.
Great for them. I know what it means to them to represent their countries. Their situation is different because these are CONMEBOL qualifiers. Like those matches are different. For them, those matches actually really mean something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mena is trying to get his beloved Ecuador in the World Cup. You know that. Okay, there's something to be said for that. But in the case of Mexico, no, like
it's
why?
Not friendly.
Like why send off? Why send off Navarro, especially Navarro, guys? So important, such a uniquely important piece for what we do. And Cota, who I mean, at least after that first half against Santos, there were a few people, believe it or not, who were saying there was a debate to be made in the porteria because Poncho Blanco has played well when called upon, and Cota kind of. Hard not to call that at least partially a howler, giving up that first goal to Furch. Then he obviously made up for it, had some great saves in the second half, played very well. I don't think there's really a debate. I mean, especially because I think he's a master playing his area, something that we were always stressed out about watching William play.
Yeah,
William's a great shot stopper, but he was never very good at playing his area. And Cota's is just a maestro at playing his area, and it really, it really provokes a tranquility in us that we haven't seen from the goalkeeper position in many years. So I don't think there's really a debate there. Yeah, why send those guys away is so important. We're so close. We're so close to finally concretando this long project that has been full of so much joy, but is missing that one thing that we're so close to now. Why do anything? I mean, I think it's really unfortunate to begin with. That there's even a FIFA break. right when there is. What a terrible I mean, in terms of the Liga MX calendar, what an awful time for a FIFA break.
Right before
that's a whole subject in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to start Liga with a clean slate pretty much. Like people are going to, the teams are whatever momentum that the teams that fought and clawed their way to get in, that's going to be gone. And so I think everyone's going to come with a clean slate. I think ultimately that will help León because if everybody's got a clean slate, the best team's got the best shot, which isn't always the case going into Liguillas when you finish the last jornada and then the Fiesta Grande starts a few days later. Like the teams with momentum, the teams on the best form, the teams that had to work so hard just to get to that point, often ocasionar sorpresas. But I think in this case, it's not going to be that way, which is a shame for the competition. I do think it'll ultimately help León, especially. Well, it'll help any team that is trying to get players back from injury, which we are in Jairo's case. I think it'll ultimately help León, but I think it'll lessen the quality of the competition a bit. But I think it'll help us get to the title. So in that sense, it's fine. But what a weird and unfortunate time for a FIFA break. And I'm glad that nobody got called up to Mexico from our squad. Like, why have those unnecessary absences? Meneses, Mena, and who's the other one? Aquino. Those are necessary absences because those are CONMEBOL qualifiers. I get it, but no,
but I mean, to be honest, let's look at it from the other side. Us as León fans, we prefer for them not to be called because, as you just explained, they're meaningless friendlies. But if these were real matches that mattered, it doesn't make sense to not have at least one player from the best team be called up.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. There's nobody, not one player.
Well, I actually didn't. I also not a secret. I don't follow the Selección Mexicana, so I didn't see the convocatoria. I know that in the case of the United States, they're friendly. I don't even know where these friendlies are going to be. These Mexico friendlies are going to be played. I know the U.S. friendlies are going to be played in Europe. So that convocatoria, that list was not pretty much. It was all players who are associated with European clubs. Not a single MLS or Liga MX player on that U.S. squad. I don't know. I think I think these Mexico friendlies, are also going to be played on European soil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So I would assume that the call-ups are going to could possibly be heavily European players too. But you're right. No, in a vacuum, you're right. But we're fighting for a title and we're so close to it. Like I just, the fewer call-ups, the better, and it keeps the guys motivated. It keeps them hungry. Like that, they still have to, as good as they've been, they still have to be better if they want to get called up.
Yeah,
that's something to be said for even in and of itself, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess we can call it unfortunate that nobody got called up, but we're actually the fortunate ones, the Club León fans, because we don't have to risk our players for some meaningless friendlies. We lost Jose. Jose's, I don't know if he's trying to reconnect or not, but if you can come back on, Jose, go ahead. So let's go ahead and get into some team news from Monday Night Football. We had León versus Santos. Obviously, we got the win, 2-1 win. I would call it a win that was a medio gas. I didn't feel like we were playing too hard. I didn't feel like we were too sloppy, but we got the win. That's the important thing. Let's go ahead and jump into some team news. As we just spoke about, Pedro Aquino being called up to the national team. And then we also had Ivan Rodriguez, who made an appearance. I don't think he got any playing time, and that's because we had one big surprise in the lineup, which we'll go over in just a minute. And then last week, obviously, the team finally reached an agreement with Cermeño for playing at home. I don't know the details about the agreement, but I guess we're going to play out the rest of the season there. Is that right, Louis?
I don't know the details either. They weren't very specific even about, like, I mean, we assume that this is for the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there'd be no reason for them to play one match there and then have to go play it somewhere else. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking they probably came to agreement at least for the season. I frankly don't want to have to worry about this ever again. So I'm hoping they can come to an agreement for playing there indefinitely until a new stadium is built.
So we get the new stadium, yeah.
If they got this deal done, I don't see why they can't get a deal done for the foreseeable future. But obviously, we don't know. They weren't very forthcoming about all the details of the agreement. I mean, that's just not something we're probably going to know. But it was certainly, I mean, I felt extremely relieved, even though I couldn't be there. Obviously, these are strange times, but to see them playing in the Glorioso again was very comforting. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be any crowds let in anytime soon, right?
I mean, they still keep saying they're holding out hope for Liguilla to be able to have some fans. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm never going to give up hope that I can still see as part of this championship run, with hopefully a championship run in person. It's just difficult. Guanajuato State has been very irresponsible, and Guanajuato City very irresponsible these past few weeks, leading to much speculation about returning to a semáforo rojo situation, which I hope does not happen. And if it does, then obviously there will be no fans. There will be no hope of having any fans. But no, I mean, I'm hoping that I'm hoping we can get some Liguilla matchups with some of these teams that are receiving fans. I'm praying that, not praying, but I'm hoping that Mazatlan somehow makes it in and wins the repechaje game so that we can, because Mazatlan is one of the teams that, come on in, we're having fans. And if I could go see that partido de ida in the obviously we'll be in the quarterfinals in Mazatlan, that would be amazing. A nice little trip. Yeah, or maybe awesome. Necaxa, although for some they had fans in there 2 games ago. I don't think they had fans in this game against Toluca, which was strange. Maybe they're going back like Puebla did on their on their decision to allow fans. I don't know. But if that, just one game, if I could see one Liguilla game somewhere, even if it's not the final, that would be amazing. I'm still holding out hope for that. Probably a long shot, but you never know.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, yes, it was great to see the team playing on their home pitch where they never should have been removed from. But that's just the way things go.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump into the starting lineup. There was one big surprise, which I'll ask you about. We had Osri on the back, William Tecillo, Steven Barreiro, Fernando Navarro, and Cota. All defense, solid defense. We're used to having that defense back there. The midfield, we had Luis Montes, Avion, and Angel Mena. And then up top, we had Meneses and Gigliotti. But the big surprise of the night was a 17-year-old Fidel Martinez, Fidel Ambriz. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I mean, what an opportunity to give a youngster some big time minutes. As we know, Leon, the best young players they bring up are generally contenciones, defensive midfielders, holding, or central midfielders, holding midfielders. And Fidel Ambriz fits that description, and I thought he fit in really nicely. I don't remember a moment where you said, there's that youngster making mistakes, costing us possession or costing us or giving away dangerous chances. I don't think that really happened ever. And I thought when he had moments to touch the ball, I thought he made the most of them. He had a shot on target, if I recall. He had one shot on one pretty solid shot on target that if he'd been able to,
position
do a
correctly.
little bit more with in terms of positioning. Yeah, could have easily been a goal. He had a clear shot on target. I thought that was, wow, good for him. I don't think it cost the team anything. I don't think he was much of a net negative or really a net positive, but I thought he had good minutes out there, and it was good to see. It was good to see a youngster get minutes like that, and what an opportunity for it. I think he's got a shot to be a good player for this team in the future.
Yeah, and he's only 17 years old, so he has nothing but bright future ahead of him. Jose, how did you see Fidel Ambriz Monday night?
I was kind of surprised. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think, if I remember correctly, I think he had 82% passing success rate in that match, which, I mean, for what is he, like 17 now, or still? So that's, I mean, you don't expect 82% from a youngster. I mean, you expect him to make mistakes, and especially in a match like it was, like that wasn't an easy match by no means. So that for him to get that height of a set rate.
Yeah, Santos they were going all out for every ball, every interception, anything they could do. They were going all out, understandably so. They still had a lot to play for in terms of their positioning. So when you think about that, you're absolutely right. I mean, for a 17-year-old to start and have that kind of passing accuracy, which is a really important stat for a contención, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. And as far as I understand, because it's not very easy to follow like a live game of like the youth academy, because they don't really air it at all. So you usually just, the knowledge that you get is secondhand. But from what I heard, his characteristics are more offensive than defensive. So like he looked pretty solid. So I didn't expect him to be that solid, to be honest. Like that's probably his first start too. So
yeah, that's his first start ever. I actually thought they were going to start Jefecito.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought.
Back, right? I thought maybe
he was back. He was in the
game. Just let him in there.
He did come in. He did sub in at the end. But no,
I wasn't surprised though that didn't, though, because I don't think he wants to risk it, and we know Ambriz how he is. So
yeah.
Well, true. But I appreciate Ambriz for wanting to experiment a little bit, but taking a calculated risk and not just jumbling things up like we've seen him do before with largely negative results. And so this was an experiment, clearly, but a calculated risk that I think paid off. Aquino's absence is big. We've seen how important he's been this season. You could see that that Santos, tried to take advantage of that, inexperienced midfielder. Well, they were just trying to take advantage of everything, get anything they possibly could, and I thought he did a more than admirable job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys expect him to start next game?
I
mean, he did a solid
don't
job.
know.
I wouldn't be surprised if he started again.
Or maybe they'll put in Saul Zamora. Why not? See which of them responds best to
That's true. What
the
does Toluca have to
opportunity.
play for?
Like I am very happy that he did well, but then I see people and social media like already, and usually when talking about it's journalists like already hyping him up, and like yeah, he did well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but that's like, and they're like, oh, he should like he should be ahead of Aquino already. Like, all right, he did well.
I don't know
get
about
it.
that one,
but no,
I don't know.
no.
I don't think
Like
he's gonna get Aquino.
like that doesn't mean that he's gonna be like 100% that performance every single game. It's he's 17. He's still learning, so he's still learning ropes.
Yeah, he probably had adrenaline heightened, and he was out there maybe just super concentrated. No shaky legs. Surprisingly, no shaking legs from a 17-year-old.
And that's what I like to see, especially from one or two, at least from what we heard, brightest prospects in the cantera.
Yeah. Well, we have
I do expect Aquino to be back. I expect Aquino will be back starting against Toluca, just to keep him fresh because, well, he's going to have activity and he's probably going to start for Peru in both of their matches. But just to keep these guys fresh, just because of that long layoff. We keep talking that long, weird layoff. What a terrible time for a FIFA break.
Yeah. It's like I mentioned in the chat. Like I know for the rest, but we also need to. I hope they get at least like one friendly there, at least to still keep the legs fresh.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be parados too long either, though.
No, of course not.
Javier,
even just an intra-squad friendly or something. Yeah.
Javier, what do you think about the Fidel Ambriz and his performance on Monday night?
Hey man, when he plays and seeing his age, it's kind of like I can't wait to see what else he's gonna bring to León in the coming years. That's exactly what I felt. I felt like what you said. He didn't have shaky legs. He did his job well. The only person that I kept yelling at the screen was Osvi. That's the only one that I had a real problem with. Like, not because Louis here. I know Louis doesn't like him, but I was very kind of like, man, por ahí lo van a atacar, because he didn't look too. He did like what he could, but it was kind of hard to even pay attention to Fidel and to see if he was like up to the challenge, because I think he did well. Even though I do think they're gonna give that position back to Aquino, come Toluca, especially La Liguilla. But it's still one of those things that you're like, hey man, we got some good players in La Cantera de León.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So 40th minute, we get scored on. Big mistake by Rodolfo Cota. It was a goal by Julio Furch. Huge mistake. But then we came back second half like León knows how to do. First it was Chapo Montes with a really nice, well-positioned goal, and then it was El Avión. Chapo, yeah. And then El Avión. So what do you guys think about the goals?
Great goals.
Yeah,
I mean, Chapo's was incredible, and Avion's was clinical. He did everything right. He got the ball to him. He did absolutely everything right with it. Everything you would expect. Not as much of a golazo, obviously, as Chapo's. Not as much of a wasn't as quite of a special of a disparo, but two very, very, very good goals.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see more of those, though.
Yeah, because you kind of felt, for instance, that's kind of what León does need also. Not just passes all the way to El Área and kind of play. What do you say, Louis? They play muy, or like very pretty, or what's the word they use?
Cute is the word I always use.
Cute,
They
cute.
try to get too cute. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what Montes did is kind of like, hey man, they kind of expect us to play cute, so they don't really expect esos tiros. And I think Chapo was un golazo. I think also he kind of told the team, hey, we got this. We're not defeated yet. We can come back from this, and that's what we want from un capitán. Y lo del avión. What could we say? I think it meant a lot to him being his first goal ever in León, him being at Leones and loving León, and you can see how he felt celebrated with the bench.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, especially after all the great work he's put in, unexpectedly getting to be a regular starter, which nobody thought was going to happen, and then all the solid work he's been putting in all season, and to get his prize finally. But it goes beyond that. I mean, if he's going to be deployed as a winger, like a true winger, I mean, he should be a threat to score. So it's great to see him get that opportunity and capitalize on it finally. I think that could be a real boost for him. Not that he needed a boost. I mean, for solid play, but I mean, it could be a real boost for him. Maybe there could be more where that came from. That's going to be what he's thinking. I only wish Nick Keeler had that opportunity. Has had that opportunity. He might be a different player.
Contra Toluca, bro. Have faith. Nick Keeler and Campbell still have to score. I feel those are the two players that we need for them to kind of. Yeah, anímicamente, and I think Campbell just had an interview, not like I think with Paco Vela, and I feel like he knows that we know that he knows that we want him to show what he's worth. You know what I mean? Like you kind of think sometimes that we talk about, man, what's up with Campbell, and you kind of feel like he probably doesn't even care, or he's like in his world or whatever. But you could tell that he does know that we've been kind of like it's not bashing, but it is like they paid a lot of money for him, so. Él sabe que se quedó a deber a little bit, and I think que tiene ese hambre to show that, hey, you know what, come la liguilla, you better believe that I'm in the same mindset like from the rest of the team, that we want the championship. Mena also had an interview, and they're all in the same like mindset, like, hey, the most important thing is la octava.
Yeah, I think Campbell's problem, if he's coming in on the 75th minute, he has such a short period of time to show what he can do. Like, he's so far down on the depth chart, and he's lost so much confidence from Ambris that he's only going to get his 15 minutes, and he comes in and tries to do too much every single time because he just has such a small window of opportunity to show what he can do. That's how it's been every time, and every time he gets 2 or 3 chances that are like almost spectacular, but come up just short. I mean, he had that almost wonder goal against Puebla. And he had a couple nice moments too, but like he tries to do too much. I'd be interested to see how he would do starting a game. I'd be interested to see him start against Toluca. See what he can.
He already did.
But he hasn't started a match in a really, really long.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested. Put him in from Meneses. Bring Meneses off the bench. Meneses does great off the bench. We've already seen it.
We've already seen that. Yeah.
I like that.
He does great as a super sub. So start Campbell against Toluca. What have you got to lose? Like that's a calculated risk too. It's not a risk at all. We're miles ahead. We don't. It'd be nice to get the 42 points and break the record and everything, but we're not really looking for a win. We're just looking to play our game. And I want to see if Campbell can be part of that. I'd love to see if Campbell can be part of that. But starting a match so he's not like frantically trying to get his moment. It's frantically trying to get his moment in 15 minutes. That's just I don't think he's built for that. I think maybe if he came in the 60th minute, it'd be different and got out like a half hour. But coming in at the 75th minute, I don't think he's built for playing 15 minutes. I don't think that's him.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea for sure if they start him against Toluca, even Nick Keeler. You guys need to score, so you guys are gonna play the whole game. And like against oh my God, bro, like against Santos, and in every single game they just love tackling Chapo Montes, and it's like, man, if he rest someone, it would be him. But yeah, it's a game that I think we all want to break the record, but we all just want to make sure que todos los jugadores make it to la liguilla and they're tengan ritmo, minutes. Campbell for sure needs the confidence, so why not give him a start if he scores, anímicamente, that's going to be really good for him, for the team. Because I do think that it's kind of like when Avión Ramírez scored. I felt like I'm telling you, I think Nacho Ambriz said it. Ese es el refuerzo de this torneo. El Avión Ramírez, and I think he's because you're right, Louis. I don't think no one in their right mind thought that he was going to replace Meneses, knowing who Meneses is, and yet lo mandó a la banca, and I think that's very healthy competition, and Ambriz knows how to manage that very well. So, yeah, you're absolutely right when it comes to Campbell, and why not start him?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Chapo get subbed off. I think at this point, I'm starting to think he's so used to going 90 every time that if you subbed him off, like it maybe throw off his rhythm. I mean, he's just so used to playing. He's playing a full 90. Like, it's crazy that he could even be able to do that. But he's something else. So used to it at this point. Like, if you bring him off with 20 minutes to go, like, I don't know. I think that would mess with his psychology somehow. I don't know.
Dang it, bro. He's got to play every game.
Yeah.
He's just crazy. Like, even my grandpa was like, "Es como el vino, mijo. O sea, se hace mejor." Hey, that's Kari's. That's Kari's thing right there. You can't be stealing that, abuelito. Kari, you gotta like really coin that or something, like freaking
copyright it. Trademark. Yeah.
And she's the first to say it, like, at least from what I've heard.
We should make sure it's
crazy.
Make sure it's with that quote.
Yeah.
No,
but shirts lined and pot.
Yeah. No, I thought this was a great game for a number of reasons and displayed the difference between this version of the team and the one that was still so good but not as experienced, not as mature in the Clausura 19. Because I'm thinking back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking back to that season, and this was the second to last game of the season against Santos, and I'm thinking back to the second to last game of that season, which, as you'll recall, was the game where the 12 game winning streak came to an end against Chivas. They went out there and laid an egg. They se dejó ganar. Like, they clearly weren't trying to. They were clearly just trying to save energy, dosificarse, and they played crappy. And the win streak came to an end, and they lost, and nobody was happy. And no one thought of it at the time. Oh, they're fine. They're same situation. They already had the Superliderato locked up. There was nothing to play for other than pride and rhythm, staying in form. And they laid an egg. And at the time, nobody thought of that as like looking forward to like a disappointing end to the Liguilla. Now I look back on that, and that should have foreshadowed a disappointing end to the Liguilla. This time, in the same analogous circumstances, they went out, se dosificó, jugó a medio gas, but they still found a way to play their game.
Yeah.
They found a way to play their game. They knew in which moments to turn on the afterburners, to impose their will against a team, frankly, that was better. That Chivas team was already eliminated. That Chivas team was eliminated from Liguilla contention. This Santos team is better than that Chivas team was, and they were playing all out. They were going all out to win that game, and we still found a way to control the match, play our game, and it never even really seemed that much in doubt, even when we were trailing. And that's, I mean, how often has that been the case this season? This team it looks way more mature and way more poised to make a serious run. And it's encouraging. I thought that was a great. I instantly thought of that Chivas game when I was watching this game and how it ended, and just how fired up they were, and then the tempers flared at the end, which we haven't talked about yet. But how the tempers flared at the end, and everybody was they were so fired up, and you could tell like Barreiro was fired up. Mosquera, who didn't even play in the match, was fired up. These guys were fired up. They in a game they had that meant nothing to them and everything to Santos, but our guys were fired up.
Mm-hmm.
And our guys won, and they were just getting in the grill, and
better.
The attitude of this team is different than the one that came up short a year and a half ago in that magical season that we fell short. This has a different feel to it. Mm-hmm. And you and I, Carlos, we've gone back and forth this whole season about how this team, being the best team, clearly the best team, and as we pulled farther and farther away from the competition, like how should they handle that? Should they go for the jugular, or should they save up? Save energy.
The whole season.
You know, like we've been going back and forth on that.
Yes, sir.
And I think they're kind of finding a way to do both.
They're balancing
like if I'm being honest, I think they're finding, especially same in that Puebla game, they found a way to do both. They found a way to do both against Santos, and that's we don't even have to argue anymore because they're satisfying both of our wishes.
If I had like something that I probably don't like about this team though, is the fact I forget how many games it is, but at least it's gotta be 4 or 5. The number of games that when we
go down,
we are on the lead, and then we're one man up, and we can't score.
Oh,
that's the only thing that I would put like una tachita. But then you, if you look at the opposite side, which is, by the way, it's not my stat, and I'm sure you guys are probably saw it. On this season we have 7. I think he said that it was 7 games that we had a comeback win, right?
Yeah, something like that.
For sure, Monterrey. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Monterrey.
Monterrey was a 1-0 victory. The golazo from way outside the area by Chapo.
I guess in my head, what I have me quedo con este León is that we don't tie the games. We want to win them every time, and no matter how close they are. With Monterrey, I thought we were going to tie because it just felt like I've seen this movie a million times. And they found a way, and Chapo found a way. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like about this team in particular, that I know que estamos acostumbrados a ganar, golear y gustar. Este León gana y gusta, nomás que no golea. And I think at the end of the day, when it came to the game against LAFC, all we needed was that goal. And it just felt like we had already given up way before the 90th minute. With this León team, for sure, even with this is why this game felt like a Liguilla game, because you're right, Santos needed the win way more than León. Yet León is fired up. The team they're not taking any game for granted. Of course, I don't like when León is down and then they have to like react. But at the same time, I think era más mérito de ellos because they were intense since the first minute. First minute, they were already attacking León, which is something that I like to see against León, because I don't like teams like Mazatlán and other teams that se encierran atrás, and it's kind of like León has like 99% possession, but we don't score. I do think León is very peligroso en el contragolpe, but for sure, I do really think that this is a team that's very mature, and I think, Louis, that's your word. It's true. They're very mature, and I think they have that I'm pretty sure they do watch the news, they watch ESPN, and they see the stupid comments that ¿de qué le sirve ser super líder si la liguilla? Shut the F up. Like it's not always going to be the case. Like you can't foresee the future. León in against esa liguilla that we lose against Morelia. Yeah, that was very frustrating because it's a team that you felt was way better than Morelia, but Morelia wanted it more. And that's at the end of the day, when it comes to La Liguilla, that's what it comes down to. And this team against Santos proved to me that they want everything. They want to win every game. And like you said, Mosquera wasn't even playing, but he was super fired up. And come on, let's just say it. Almada was just mad because ni así le pudo ganar a León.
Almada acted like an infant. Let's just get that out of the way. He acted
out of the way where we're at it.
I mean, guys, like
le dolió. Le ardió.
Ambriz has like I said on Twitter, like Ambriz has been here for León for 5 seasons now. Have you ever seen Ambriz get in any sort of altercation with a rival, a coach, or a player?
No.
No?
Come on.
Yeah.
That's not him.
Not his personality. He's just very chill, and he doesn't even engage.
All I saw was Mosquera trying to defend. Like I guess they were fighting with someone, and Mosquera was just like le estaba reclamando, and then that's all I saw. I never saw Ambriz. Ambriz never left the coach's spots.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So I don't know.
It's just interesting because in that aspect, and that was paying a lot of attention, si el árbitro, I forget, which by the way, I didn't like his, de los dos lados, but I mean.
Oscar Mejia, very controversial referee.
It's like,
yeah.
Very controversial. I was paying attention.
Because that's like playing with 12 players, and it's not just for one thing. It's for both.
Well, that's why I was paying attention a lot to La Célula, because he could have probably put something. I did see Nacho do this and that, and they can't suspend them. And I think Jose Ramon said on ESPN, I just think they're trying to find any way para desmantelar a León when the Liguilla comes, because there's no other way to, you know what I mean? Like why would Almada even go there unless he wanted there to be consequences from, like, you know, in that aspect. But come on, we all know Nacho Ambriz. Even players like, even Hugo Sanchez was like, dude, Nacho Ambriz was like the chillest person I've ever even been in a locker room.
Exactly.
Why would he be a sore winner? Because that's pretty much what he was accusing him of.
Like, okay,
he won in Orlando. Why against Santos?
Just to put it in perspective, even before Ambriz came to León, people would
what would they make fun of him? He doesn't have passion.
Because he was so serious. He wasn't like other, like for example, or you know, like Matosas, like he was like all like running around in the coaching box. He wasn't like that.
He's chill.
Give the directions. So, okay, like, oh, hey, you go here, and that's it. Like,
yeah.
And it's very interesting the contrast of Matosas and Ambriz, that they're like in personality wise are not the same, but you can just tell that those players will die for their coach. Like, there's something that Ambriz does. Like, even I was talking to my grandpa about how Mena came to León, and it's because he gave him a call. And he gave him the confidence that he needed to say, you know what, I do want to go. I want to coach like you, because I think that's another aspect of being a coach, the confidence you can bring to a player when they're like not even playing. And you know, I can just feel that el que lo quiere más is Nacho. You know, he's been doing amazing things with León. And I think he's just a great, that I think people forget about him even as a player. I always say, man, there's got to be something special about Ambriz. When we go back to La Selección de 92 with Menotti, and Menotti's like, you're my captain. If Menotti says you're the captain, it's because you have something special. We say liderazgo. And I think that's what he shows with his players. Like, his players know that he's you know how there's like a musician. He's probably like the equivalent of that, but a player. Like él sabe hablar el lenguaje de los jugadores. I think, and that's why I believe he has that the players have his back, and I think the players do want to become champions, not because only por la afición y para ellos, you know, but because they all want Nachito to finally, you know, be up there, because he's a great técnico, and it's unfair que digan que no lo es porque no tiene campeonatos. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what I see in this León, el hambre, you know, de triunfar.
Yeah. Well, just to finish your point, Jose, about us not taking advantage as much as we could. But I take away much more from that, the times that these comeback victories. I mean, how many of these comeback victories have there been? It reminds me of a little bit of the Matosas era where no matter how many goals they scored on us, we were always going to get one more. And they're kind of, and it's not like we're getting scored on a lot. I mean, they might score first, but that's the only goal they're going to get. You know, they score on us.
We're still la mejor defensiva, right?
We're still the mejor defensiva, and so it's not like it's not a big issue. And I think there's nothing that speaks more to the maturity, again with that word, but the maturity and the championship medal of a team than their ability to, okay, we got scored on, we're gonna do it, we're gonna come back and take this match, and we're not gonna do it por milagro. I mean, we're gonna pick this other side apart and do what we need to do to get this lead back. I think that's, you feel like every time they're going to do it, and it's not by magic. It's not a coincidence. I mean, they're a team that's built to be able to do that much more than they ever have been before. So it's not because I'm more of an optimist than you are, Jose, which I probably am, but
yeah.
But I'm not saying it because of that. I'm saying it because that's what I've seen, and it's happened so often, so many times that it's not a fluke anymore.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat.
Who?
To the chat, we have Gotti.
Oh, Carlos.
Javier.
What? How can I be here and there at the same time?
And we also have Leon
Magic.
477 Grr. Saludos desde Baltimore. Garruja la fiera.
All the way
Grr.
from
Baltimore.
Saludos a
All the way
Baltimore.
from Baltimore, guys. Shout out to my man in Baltimore.
Baltimore, the Toluca of the United States, as I'll get to
Is
in a little bit.
Guys, how about we get into some performance reviews? You guys ready? I got two of them
Sure.
for you guys. First one's a little, I don't know, it can go either way. Let's go with Rodolfo Cota. Oh,
Give him an 8. I'll give him an 8. He made up for the poor first half with an amazing second half. At halftime, I'm telling you, man, at halftime, I saw people like actually trying to entablar un debate real about whether there should be a discussion about titularidad en la portería. You know?
No.
I know. I'm with you. It sounds ridiculous, but I saw it. It was there.
there are people out there who prefer Blanco, right?
One mistake,
Well,
one game. No, I don't think so.
But
I mean, it was un error. But you're right. He did make up. That's why I'm kind of like 8 or 7.5. I'm gonna go with just an 8 because you're right. I think that's like the worst mistake I've seen him the whole season.
he's had a few, but they never cost us the game.
Exactly.
If you notice,
it's not like how Yarbrough would sometimes that would happen to him, right? Where I'm not.
He made mistakes that cost us plenty of games.
Exactly. Like,
but no, when you guys were off, like Carlos and I were talking about this a little bit, and I was like, yeah, Yarbrough you could argue that Yarbrough is a better shot stopper than Cota is, but Cota's just a maestro playing his area, and it gives us so much tranquilidad, so much calm that we never had with Yarbrough.
Yeah,
exactly.
Speaking
of which, my Timbers are about to square off against Yarbrough's Colorado Rapids in 8 minutes, and it's going to pain me to see Yarbrough get scored on 5 times.
I'm gonna watch
Or is it?
No, you're right, Jose. It's not going to pain me at all.
Nice.
Okay, maybe a little bit.
All right, guys, let's go with the 17-year-old Fidel Ambris. So what did we think about him? Overall performance.
I'll give him an 8 as well. Net neutral. Some really nice moments. Nothing that you thought like, oh, that's a 17-year-old out there making mistakes. No, not really. Solid. If he'd be up in the 9.5 range if he'd managed to convert that one shot on goal that he had.
Oh yeah.
But I'll give him a solid 8.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, 8.5. Because he, like I said, I couldn't even tell he was 17. Because I didn't see the starting lineup. I was just watching the game, and I'm like, I wonder who they put for Aquino. I thought it was gonna be Navarro, and I don't know what I saw him like. Oh, that's Fidel. Even my grandpa was like, "Is that his son? Is that Nacho Ambris' son or something?" Like, no, but because I'm like, no,
his son.
Yeah, he deserves that. Like, because he thought, oh, he's just playing because he's his son. Like, no, he se merece ese puesto because look how he's playing. He's 17. You got to give him that confidence at that age. So
yeah,
8.5.
Cool. Jose?
I'm gonna go with an 8 because just like I mentioned before, just at 82% for passing and 17. That's already like way above our average for me. So yeah, like. And then he had this great game too, so now definitely an 8. I forgot to mention for Cota, I'm just gonna say 7.5.
Okay.
7.5.
Cool. All right. Nice. Yeah. So I'm gonna say an 8 for Fidel Ambris too. He did pretty well. He's pretty solid. Bright future ahead of him. We always produce those midfielders, guys, but
no.
For some reason they don't end up staying with Leon.
Yeah, the problem is we're producing, but how many seconds is in Leon?
Yeah.
No, Aldo, I think Aldo was more because who didn't like him? Torrente? Torrente loved him, right? Someone didn't
like him out, didn't he?
Someone didn't like him, and then he
was it Torrente?
No, it was it was
Tena.
It was Tena. It was Tena.
Oh, Tena.
Yeah.
But
I mean, but if he turns into a good player and then we have a logjam at contención and somebody wants to buy him off us, that's fine too.
That's fine too.
Yeah, I guess that's okay too.
And then with the money we get, we can address a place of greater need.
Guys,
As we were mentioning again before you guys came on, we do often our best young players are contenciones, so it's possible that we get too many.
Mm-hmm.
we should, but hey, he's 17, so
Yeah.
So imagine how he's gonna be when he's 20, 21. We might sell him, but not to Mexico.
I'm selling at 20, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like even with Aldo and en su momento también when they were talking about Jefecito, like I said, yeah, give him more minutes because this is just gonna, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's for sure it's gonna add up to your worth if you get a lot of minutes and you show what you're made out of. He was called para la selección. You don't think that kind of elevó su valor? So those are the kind of things that I do like when it comes to those kind of players that we have, canteranos. Give them an opportunity because it's like the whole JJ Macías thing all over again. I'm like, man, instead of buying these players, let's produce them. I think that's
sir.
key. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's a dream, man.
Yeah.
So
we have Toluca up next, guys. Let's go ahead and get into Louis' segment. Louis, you got anything for us?
Sure, Toluca? Man. I always got something. Yeah.
All right. Take it away.
So we're going back to back here because if Torreon is my least favorite Liga MX destination, Toluca is my second least favorite. Yeah, and sometimes they're right up there, kind of around the same place. And Toluca's just imagine La Ciudad de Mexico and all of its worst qualities, just industrial, cold, just ugly. That's Toluca for you. It's not literally the only reason to go there is to see your team play against Toluca. That is the only reason to go there. Or I suppose if you have friends there, which I actually do.
No good food.
No good food.
I guess the huaraches. They have huaraches. The state of Mexico is known for huaraches.
Is it? I thought it was because of the tacos.
They have good tacos too. But like the thing you'll see like outside the stadium after the games, before the games too. Like everybody's selling huaraches. Yeah. Tacos also, but the huaraches, that's like the special thing, and they are good. I'm not going to say they're not good. Not as good as the gorditas and the lonches in Torreon though. So I guess if there's a tiebreaker to be made there, then it would definitely be Torreon. Having said that, Toluca is a great soccer city, and they have great fans. It's a great stadium. The Bombonera remodeled is an amazing place to see a game, and the fans there know their stuff, and I respect them for. Despite having many sexier options for teams to support in the immediate vicinity. The teams who choose to support Toluca have my utmost respect. Along with León, the two of those two teams probably have, as we've mentioned on here, the best argument for the Quinto Grande. It's a great. In terms of, I'm not. Tigres doesn't no. It's in terms of a great football city. It's a great place, and it's a great place to see a game. It's a great stadium to see a game. I had the fortune. Actually, the first game that I saw in Toluca was actually played in the Estadio Chivo Córdoba, which is home to the Potros UANM. Which when the Bombonera was being remodeled, Toluca played a season and I think maybe even 2 seasons in that stadium, which has a big stand, sort of like the one at CEU of Pumas, which has a mural painted into the stand and a mountain behind it. So that was like a really cool place to see a stadium. I'll probably never have a chance to see a game there again. So I was happy for that opportunity to see the game at the Chivo Córdoba. And then I've seen 2 matches at the Bombonera. The last one was actually quite a while ago because last season, our match there was suspended because of COVID, and before that, we played in León, I think twice. So I actually haven't seen a game there since the Apertura 2018, which was a 2-1 win. Header by Pedro Aquino. Toluca went ahead. Pedro Aquino scored a header, and then Boselli put us ahead just before halftime, and that result stood 2-1. So in a season that ended up being pretty poor, but that was one of the highlights of a pretty poor season. That and the run to almost to the Copa final. But that win, I think, was one of just a couple road wins we had that season. So it was definitely a highlight. I've had some pretty decent memories of games in Toluca, despite the fact that it's, other than the football element, it's not a great place to go. You go to Mexico City, you take you go to Terminal Observatorio, you take a bus to Toluca, you go to the game, and then you go back to Mexico City as soon as possible. That's what you do. One funny thing, that trip when we won the game, I took the bus back to Mexico City, got off at Observatorio, and got on the metro to go back into town. And there was a bunch of Toluca fans who were getting on the metro. They had come from the game too, back to Mexico City. They got the Toluca fans, and they saw me, and they tried to start a bronca with me. That was one of the few times.
Wow.
That was one of the few times in my entire history of traveling that's ever happened. But luckily, cooler heads prevailed, and there was no bronca. They got off the metro. I was going still a few more stops, and nothing happened. But yeah, that was a funny experience.
Wow.
Wasn't so funny at the time, but it's funny in hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, glad you're safe. And awesome story. So I guess just the moral of the story is just avoid Toluca unless it's a soccer game.
Yeah. Now, but to go, I do recommend La Bombonera de Estadio Nemesio 10 is a football cathedral in Mexico. It's one of the great places to catch a match. In terms of smaller stadiums, especially, it's a great place to catch a match.
I mean,
in Mexico,
it looks just like Old Trafford, but it's smaller.
Yeah, and they did a really, really nice job with the remodel. Like it's. I would recommend anybody to go if you're already in Mexico City and there's a game that day. Take the bus out. It's about a 50-minute bus ride, maybe an hour, depending on traffic. Go to the game, see the game there. You won't regret that experience. That is a classic Liga MX experience to go see a game in Toluca.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guys, we have a question from the chat from Fernando Renteria. Saludos from San Diego, California. Would you guys consider León to be El Quinto Grande for all of their history and what they're accomplishing now? I know I do, but do you guys think the rest of the league does? What are your thoughts? And we just lost Javier. I know Javier is very passionate about this topic here.
But when you mean then, did he meant Toluca? Because that's when I think when he.
No. I think he's talking about León.
Yeah, I think he's talking about León.
Okay. See, in my opinion, I do consider us like contenders to be El Quinto Grande, but I think what we're missing to really put it, because all the league doesn't believe that we are. Like we know already, but I think what we need is international titles.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we need.
Winning this octava would certainly bolster the argument. But getting into another final, we'd be in the Conca Champions for the next 2 years. 2 great chances to rectify our terrible performances in international competition. Man, I'm thinking, what a shame that Libertadores is not still part of the equation. All these top finishes in the table, we'd have been in Libertadores like 6 times now. You know.
Well, that and imagine this León team being in Libertadores.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that mouth-watering just to think?
Yeah.
It would have been amazing.
It's such a shame. We're for second time in 4 seasons, we're going to finish top of the table, and the other 2 times we finished second. Like we would have been in so many. So we've had so many chances to make a name for ourselves on an international stage if the system were the way it used to be. So it's just such a shame.
Yeah,
one day.
Shame.
Yeah,
one day. But at least we'll have those 2 years of Conca Champions to try to get that cup.
Well, we're gonna get at least one.
Mm-hmm.
We got to come on, all signs point that this is. So hopefully that's gonna transcend to next year, and well, who knows? If we win it this year, it might just start a back-to-back title run, and then imagine then winning the CONCACAF Champions League, el triplete in a football year. Like That would be insane. But first things first, we gotta win Ottawa first. But yeah, it's the prospects are good.
Yeah. First, let's get the number 8. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a preview against the predict. Any surprise? Well,
I think it's lagging. Can you guys hear me?
Cut off?
No, I think I hear you now. Okay, so
okay. Let's just talk about the preview against Toluca.
Okay. I mean, I only have the stats for the last 9 matches, guys. So.
Oh, okay. You got some stats for us, Jose?
Yeah, just simple. I didn't get any time to put it up on a Graphica or anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and be brief.
Okay.
So let's see. So for the last 9 matches, Leon has 5 wins, Toluca 3, and there's 1 tie. 24 goals in favor for Leon and 14 en contra. Top scorer in our team that still remain on the team is Angel Mena with 2 goals. So he already knows what it's like to score versus Toluca. So hopefully, I don't know about you guys, but he's I feel like it would be good for us, for at least for this last game, for Mena to score a couple of goals coming into Liguilla, just to kind of get his confidence up, because he keeps getting there in the assist department, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's
pretty interesting stats. Predicted lineups. What do you guys think? Any surprises? Any changes? No, it is the last game. It might be the only time you might want to shuffle things around a little bit.
I don't think. I hope. I don't think Ambrose is gonna do anything crazy. So I mean, he didn't last time. He just put in Fidel Ambriz because of injury to Aquino. So I'm expecting, despite his good performance, to have Aquino back in the lineup.
Yeah, it was because of the red card, right? Not injury.
Yes.
Yeah. Louis, what about you? Do you think any changes in the lineup? Did we lose Louis?
He's kind of lagging.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. No worries. We'll move on. Is Javier back? I think Javier just came back on.
Oh, that works.
There we go. There he is. Yeah, I was asking you about what do you think the predicted lineup is against Toluca? You see any changes in the shuffling?
No, I was going to say, I mean, probably not, but I didn't expect to see Fidel Ambriz. I could see maybe there could be one surprise, perhaps. You know, I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't be surprised to see a surprise, but I think mostly it will be our regular starters.
Cool. Javier, are you back with us?
Here. Should I message him? Because maybe he can't hear us.
Yeah, he probably can't hear us. Anyways, let's move into predictions. You guys want to do some predictions? All right. Let's go ahead and cue the clip.
Prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time.
Man, it's funny how good that is, and I know, right? And Louis didn't want to do it either at first, so that's funny.
Yeah.
I warmed up to the idea.
I mean, you did one when it was just me and you on the pod, and then after that, you kind of just put that video clip out, and we started using it.
Oh, so that's when it started. So that's when he started warming up to the idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go ahead and move into predictions. Louis, what do you think?
Man, it's tough to say. I think with the points record in reach and wanting to maintain rhythm, especially knowing how long the layoff after that will be, I think they're going to go for. I think they're going to go for it. I think. I mean, we're going to get another. It's going to be another game like Santos. Toluca still is going to have a ton to play for. In this game, they're going to want to up their positioning. I think that I haven't checked the most recent stats. I think they have technically a chance to get a home repechaje game, and so that's going to be a factor. I think the game is at noon. Is it not?
I think so. Yeah,
it's a day game.
Yeah, that's usually
which is always
Toluca.
tough as well. But we do generally pretty well in those kind of situations. I don't think Leon will be affected. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to want to go and impose their will again. Hopefully, they can do it in a way that doesn't destroy their legs the same way they did with Santos and Puebla. Yeah, I'll go with another 2-1.
Okay.
Leon. Yeah.
Jose?
I guess we'll save our legs for Liguilla. It's fine. I'll just go with the one goal lead. So just I would like us to stay like a clean sheet this time. So I'm gonna go with 2-0.
Cool. I'm gonna have to agree with Louis on this one. I'm gonna go 2-1 again. I think Toluca, they're pretty good at home. They have 5 wins and only 2 losses. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for Leon. We're gonna get that point record. Javier, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys perfectly. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for
Leon
the next game? Yeah, Leon Toluca.
3-0. Why? Why are levels, eh? Why can't we do 3-0? I haven't gotten that score right the whole season. I've been saying it for
Wait, so we're not saving those goals for Liguilla?
I think Leon has.
Javier?
I think Leon has enough goals to beat Toluca 5-0 and to beat everybody in La Liguilla. No, look, I just kind of want. I don't know. Looking back now, being serious, Toluca really does need to win, and yeah, they need to win, especially if you get encerrar in su casa, right? They're like right there with Santos and Chivas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be tough because it's at their stadium. I'm gonna go with the 2-0. So I do think. No, you know what? 3-0. Why do I think it wouldn't be Javier? I wouldn't be Javier if I didn't.
Typical Javier.
Yeah, that's so. I'm gonna go with.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right. All right. Sounds good. Fernando Renteria in the chat says 2-1 Leon over Toluca.
You're probably right. It's just I just want to get a clean sheet, man.
Yeah, I would like clean sheet.
Why can't we win 3-0?
Why can't we?
We can win 3-0.
We can.
Javier. We just
won, right? Yeah, maybe optimistic about this.
Yeah.
I just want to believe Louis and believe that we're gonna save some of those goals for Liguilla because that's when they really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. This is basically all we have for the show. Does anybody have anything else you guys want to talk about, bring up?
I'm thoroughly enjoying the all the drama in Chivas.
Oh,
go ahead.
My
grandpa,
whenever you're not,
he is mad. He's like, "Hijo, ponle ESPN." Abuelito, están hablando de las Chivas.
Oh, no, I mean,
Chivas?
I just love seeing them. I mean, that team is in shambles. I mean, I love seeing it, and I think they're going to get. I think whether they play home or away in repechaje, no matter what position they end up getting, I think they're going to get bounced in the repechaje, and that's going to be glorious.
Well, look,
you know that GIF where there's like a dog and there's like a fire, and then he's like, "This is fine."
Oh yeah.
That's Chivas right now.
Look, I'm also loving this whole drama. I actually do want Chivas to win their partido de repechaje because that would just mean they will face León in cuartos, and that's what I want. Because I do feel that they do, with all these problems going on, hey man, we're gonna look like Bayern Munich and they're gonna look like Barcelona, and that's what I kind of do want because they deserve it. It's been a team that it's been really like I hate them. Look, we were talking about the 12 victories and how they ended that. Like I live in this colonia, Héroes de León. Everyone's from Jalisco. All the tacos are tacos, so they all have their Chivas shirt. I'm like, why are you all so proud of having a Chivas shirt? Look at I just want to see them like get mad and oh, I hate León. And also the other rumor.
That's what I mean. Like at least like most of the people that are from like they go for León. Not that you have to, but but usually the people are either from Guanajuato or from León. Like at least in back in Mexico, and that kind of I don't know, that kind of gives us some identity, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, look,
yeah, I do know. I have met on my travels a number of people who live in these random places that just like León for whatever reason. But it is far rarer to see that than with the equipos mediáticos. You know, the ones that everybody could see on TV when they were kids here. That's why there's some people from here who go for Chivas or America or Cruz Azul or Pumas. Those are the teams they could see on TV when they were kids.
Yeah.
And even if they wanted to support León, it's not like they were going to go to the stadium. So that's why there are a lot of people around here who, like, if you're only going to watch the games on TV anyway, you don't really feel that connection. So that's why, like, it's a really, really local thing, the team. But I have met a few, and of course there are a ton in the United States. Who have, you know, their
especially
ancestry here, and so it's like your family club.
Well,
the people who show up to the friendlies, at the random places in the U.S., like in Milwaukee or in San Jose or wherever, you know.
There is a statistic that the grand majority of all the immigrants in the United States are either from Guanajuato State or Michoacán State. That's interesting. But but what I was gonna say, the other rumor is that for sure we know that Gallito Vasquez and that Chofis and I forget who else is gonna come back for.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, bro. Let's talk about
I don't want those guys. What do we need them for?
Not
like not even
Gallito.
Just Gallito. Like, or yeah.
I admire Gallito.
I mean Gallito for sure.
Gallito? I just like that guy a lot.
I mean,
you guys would want him back?
I would.
Yeah.
See, like me, just because of the nostalgia, but honestly, like if Ambris stays, didn't Ambris used to have Dieter Villalpando in Necaxa?
Did he?
You want Dieter Villalpando with all the drama that he's gonna bring?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let's not.
I don't want. It's like the whole Renato Ibarra coming.
Yeah, what if he's found guilty, dude?
That's one of the things that people aren't really mentioning about. Like Chivas ya dijo, look, you're done, right? En el contrato, what I was hearing the guy, his abogado on ESPN say is that he doesn't really know what the stipulations were. That if he did go to a party, it was because it was his day off, and according to his contract, you could do that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that if he is found guilty eventually, why would you even want him in your team? You're just going to be a waste of money. People are going to be like, why do you have a rapist in your team? I don't want that kind of publicity, man. Like, I'm good.
Don't want him. Don't want him. Like we didn't want Renato Ibarra. I don't want him. Yeah.
Never mind. I retract my comment.
Sorry, bro. No, I'm just saying. Like it's interesting the Ambris part, but this is actually serious, man. Because
I actually don't really keep up with Chivas, so I didn't even hear about that. So
I mean, I'm sorry. I've been with my grandpa all day, and everywhere in ESPN, Fox Sports, it's the same thing about his situation and the fact that, hey man, like he could really, even his abogado said, yeah, he can go to prison. And the other thing is I didn't hear anything about, because the first thing I would want to ask is has the other side come to try to fix this financially? Sometimes that usually is the case, you know what I mean? But it doesn't seem like it's gonna be the case. And it's just kind of like Chivas is kind of saying, I don't want to deal with this. Te voy a apoyar ahorita, but if you're found guilty, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But then I hear they're interested, or who?
Now he is.
That was like a rumor, right? Like they wanted to try to get Victor Guzman again.
Oh, yeah. Peláez said that the Victor Guzman thing is not over yet. What I want to say about Victor Villalpando is that he's already been found guilty in the public eye. Like, let's just be honest. Like, people are already saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that." It's messed up because I don't think it's been a formal process for him to even the whole court systems. It hasn't even been porque fue lo que dijo el abogado. I haven't been formally accused. It was just right out there. So it's just one of the things I don't even want to touch. That we're good. But with other players, trophies, I don't know. I know Louis doesn't like them. Saiki loves them. No, look, Gallito is just because salió bicampeón, and it's kind of like eventually maybe he probably won't cost that much. If we do
he's okay coming off the bench.
And if we do eventually sell someone like Fidel Ambriz or
Aquino is probably gonna leave before.
I do think Aquino's a player. Him and Gaito are a player that I do see them wanting to sell because, hey, I think they could make a lot of money off of them. And
maybe Gallito could be a good transition player for the youngsters.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Only in that kind of situation would I even consider wanting him. I mean, his ciclo is over here, and he asked to leave. He wanted to go elsewhere. He wanted to explore new horizons. So I don't know. I never really considered him an idol in the same way that guys like Chapo and Boselli, even Gullit were. And Gullit came back, and look how that went.
Yeah, that didn't.
I ranking way higher than Ari Hernandez.
Yeah, Gallito was way.
For sure.
In Guanajuato, like we all know his story. He came from third division. Forget what team was playing. Then he went to Celaya.
Celaya. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he brought him because he was playing for San Pancho, bro. I think that's what the team was playing. And then he went to Celaya, and then he has an interesting story that he was in second division, then Primera A, and then eventually he found his glory with Leon, and I know he's loved by many people here. The same way they love Alberto Coyote. Just because he's from Guanajuato and he played with Leon. I don't know.
Despite Gallito not coming back when maybe he could have, I respect him because he's never talked trash about Leon. He's never said anything bad about Leon.
If anything, there's been interviews where he talks about his time in Leon and how he knows que fue campeón con Chivas, but he will never forget el ascenso y el bicampeonato. You know what I mean? Like that.
And that's what you appreciate, players like that. Even though they're
like Aris. Say that again, Jose, because I didn't hear you. ¿Quién es el malagradecido? Aris
Hernandez.
¿Quién es el escudo de las Chivas a la afición? El Aris. And where's he playing right now? Capulines de la Liga de Balompié.
Nowhere.
Yeah,
because that's not even on the map.
No. Sorry, I had to get that out there. I never really spoken about
La Liga del Balompié was a good idea, but it is just like Chivas right now. It is a dumpster fire. It is on fire. Like Matosas just renounced
today. Renounced because those players aren't getting paid. We're thinking bully, what's gonna happen with him now? What? It's just a whole mess right now, and that's why I'm like, Benito sea Leon. We that's why when someone on Twitter said, "Hey, Chapo, think about it. Come to see that. Why would he ruin his life? Why would he ruin his
life? Not everyone goes for the money. Chapo actually cares about this escudo, okay?
Remember that. And he said no. He actually went out there and said, "No, I'm not gonna leave Leon to go play for America," because he understands the fans would have hated him if he done the same way many people still feel about Matosas. Let's be honest. He said he wanted to go back to Uruguay because he missed his family. Next thing you know, he signs a contract with America. So it's like, whoa, bro, that's not So that's a mercenario. But he's still an idol.
Like we're grateful to Matosas, but he left León and se convirtió en nadie.
He hasn't done anything after León, let's be honest. But see, that's pretty much all I had to really.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're a little bit over time. So thank you guys for watching, tuning in. Shout outs to everyone in the chat. Leon 477, Gur, Fernando Renteria from San Diego, California. Our boy Raul Guerrero, who just tuned in. I don't know if
representing for Javier over here.
Representing for Javier.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching us. This was episode 53. Make sure to follow us on their YouTube, Periscope, our platform. Guys,
thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
Peace.
Oh, we're still